We have been analyzing the crypto market over the last couple of days, especially since the big sell-off that did hit the market, and we have been trying to see if this market is bottomed or not. We've been analyzing a lot of things from, what the Fed is going to be doing, from the tariff discussions and the trade war, and then also, gold and how gold is going to impact this market. And I feel like right now at this moment, we do have a very good idea of what's going to happen next when it comes to crypto. So we definitely have to focus on that. We have to watch it closely to see the big indicators telling us, hey, this is, happening now. But we'll talk about that here in a moment. But first, let's start off with the market itself. So the market is pretty green today. It's a sea of green for most altcoins. Some altcoins are up 4+%, like HBAR almost hitting 5% today. XLM up 2.1%. QNT up about 2.5%. And then when it comes to like XRP, I know that XRP was jumping earlier today, but it's not like a crazy gain. It's only 2.8%. But still, we are bouncing back a bit in the market. Bitcoin back above 111K, Ethereum back above 4K, XRP around almost $2.50 yet again. And then also when it comes to other altcoins, some of them are jumping a bit today, which we love to see. Now, on the weekly, we are still in a deep sea of red, so we still need to see a lot more. Most of these gains on the daily are just a nice little bounce on the chart. We have yet to see a major reversal across the board for a lot of these altcoins. So until then, we just kind of take them one step at a time. But XRP definitely has been performing well over the last couple of days, especially since the 17th, which did mark a major bottom on the chart right now, which was around $2 and almost 20 cents. We are now back above $2.40+, almost hitting $2.50. Earlier, we did hit a nice little high. And this is what the current chart setup looks like. So we are slightly seeing bullish divergence on the daily. We did hit a very oversold level recently on this chart, which we talked about since going all the way back to July of 2024. We were in a major downtrend. We did get a nice bounce off that downtrend, and now we are watching for a major level to be reclaimed on this chart. And that main level is the May highs, which is right around $2 and almost 60 cents. We still need to see a big break above that. Until we see that big break, we still need to just be cautious here because we could still see a major drop on this chart. So right now, the main thing that we're focused on is creating bullish structure. So we want to see higher lows, higher highs. Once we see that, that will be our signal that XRP is going to climb much higher. Now, during this time, we are focused on other markets as well, like gold, like the S&P as well. When it comes to stocks, today was a very bullish day for stocks. Stocks are nearing their moving average on RSI, so this will be a very significant retest of this RSI level. The last time that we did break over this was back in the beginning of September, and that led to us going crazy and hitting a new all-time high on this chart. Right now, currently, we are breaking above the September resistance. You guys probably already remember me talking about this, right? I was expecting us, and I said this in the Discord as well, I was expecting us to find resistance right around those September highs going back to September 22nd and the 23rd. This was around 6,700 almost. We did tap that and we didn't close above it on the daily. In fact, we treated it as resistance. And I said the big thing here and the main level that we're watching to hold is the September low. That was around 6,600. We did close above it. We held that low. And now we are breaking above those high level resistance levels. And now currently in terms of the stock market, we are about less than, roughly 0.5% away from a new all-time high on this chart. So stocks are cooking. Stocks are looking very, very good right now. And during this time, we are also focused on Bitcoin. Now, we did get an update from Ted Pillows. We have short-term holders are capitulating now. Bitcoin SOPR, or spent output profit ratio, dropped below 1, which means short-term holders are selling Bitcoin at a loss. Historically, SOPR falling below 1 has marked the local bottom for Bitcoin. And yes, it typically has, especially going all the way back to April of this year, where we did mark the bottom on the initial trade war discussion. And even now, we're starting to see this hitting those levels yet again. This at a time where stocks are so close to a new all-time high. Most of this market has been hitting oversold levels I would agree with Ted on this. I do think that we are at that point in the market where we could potentially be seeing the major bottom signal. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin, we did just have a full retracement into the 702 and the 786. We did have a nice bounce above this, and we did close above this on the daily as well. Bitcoin is retesting the moving average right now on the RSI level on the daily. If we manage to break above this, like we did back in the end of September, we should start to see a very violent recovery. We are also at the first key level on this chart that we need to flip, which is 112K. So far, we have been respecting this. This is also the May highs. We want to see a break above this, and then we want to see a break above the previous highs on this chart, which we did reject from. This would be 115.4K. After that, we still need to reclaim the levels from September, which would be right around 117.2K. There's quite a bit. I mean, honestly, I would argue that almost all of this up here is going to give us a hard time. So we need to really break above 120K. Until then, I would be very cautious on a dead cat bounce or potentially a lower high. And that would lead to a lower low. So I would love for us to just break above that blue zone on this chart. We have a lot of work to do when it comes to Bitcoin, but once we start to reclaim some of these key levels, we should start to see some very bullish signals telling us, hey, guess what? Bitcoin has bottomed and we are about to go crazy on this chart. Now, one of those big things and one of the biggest indicators right now around this space, and a lot of people have been paying attention to, and I just talked about it recently in a video as well, is gold. Right? Gold has been going crazy. This is what gold currently looks like. We just hit 43.50 on this chart. On the daily, we are essentially breaking to a new all-time high. And the big thing about this is, look at that RSI. This is where you want to be very cautious because it's telling us that gold is overcooked right now. Now, the big thing about this is, are we going to have just an immediate sell-off on this chart, and are we just going to drop down to like 3K and below? No, listen. When it comes to RSI, we don't need to have a massive collapse on these charts. For an example, go back to April, right? We talked about this boring price action. This led to RSI cooling off, which also led to us having this massive jump to the upside. And that's all you really need to see with gold is boring price action, which is also why I threw the bars graph from back here on the chart. This is exactly what we could be possibly doing. This is what we would want to see as well, is just typically boring price action form on this chart, which leads to Bitcoin having that massive run up to the upside. Now, during times where gold becomes boring, people want to lock in on other investments that are being very exciting. And that's where a lot of people are asking the question, will we see a massive money rotation from gold into Bitcoin? And Ash Crypto Real did put out a post regarding the money rotation from gold to Bitcoin will be massive in Q4. I will come back to this post once Bitcoin breaks 150K. Now, obviously, is this for engagement farming? Yeah, you could argue that. However, I would argue that when we are looking at gold on almost every single time frame structure, it's telling us that gold is absolutely cooked. It's overcooked right now. And it reminds me back here in 2020, right? Where we had this massive run up on gold, and this happened from 2019 all the way into 2020. And this is late 2020. This is like July, August of 2020. Now, during that time, gold was outperforming most, and even crypto was pretty boring during that time. Yes, we had DeFi summer, which was great, but for the most part, crypto wasn't really doing anything special. And once we started to see gold become boring, that's when Bitcoin started to go absolutely crazy. Now, most of the crypto space went crazy during this entire time frame. This is all the way into May of 2021. And if you guys have been watching the videos, I've been telling you guys, hey, guess what? During May of 2021, most altcoins already topped out. Most of them didn't run all the way into like November of 2021. But the main thing that we're focused on here is gold during this entire time, even into November of 2021, was still pretty boring. It's not until about roughly the first quarter of, and it's like the end of the first quarter, it's March of 2022. It's not until then that gold started to go crazy. Now, yes, gold during 2022 just still continued to chop all the way into roughly like November of 2022. And then we start to climb back to the upside. Again, during this entire time, gold is consolidating. It's still around the highs going back to 2021. So no major breakout until April of last year. Now, what's interesting about that is, guess when we hit the local top for crypto back in 2024? March of 2024. That's when gold took over. Now, gold took over all the way through the summer, and then in October, we sell off. Guess when crypto starts to go crazy? End of October, beginning of November. And then gold just continues to take off after January. Again, when did crypto hit the local top? January. We sold off all the way until April. And then guess what? End of April, well, it's actually like the middle end of April, gold tops again. So when we think about gold, we typically do the inverse. We want to see gold get boring. That will lead to the rotation. Right now, gold is overcooked, in my opinion. We will see that massive rotation. Now, this is also at the same exact time that the tariff war is starting to cool off. Just like I said, this trade war and all these tariffs, it's all noise. Here we have breaking. The US is rolling back tariffs on products that cannot be grown, mined, or naturally produced in the United States. President Trump, in recent weeks, has exempted dozens of products from his so-called reciprocal tariffs. Now here we have the full breakdown. The Trump administration exempts unproducible imports from tariffs. Here we have the Trump administration has exempted dozens of imported goods, including coffee, bananas, and certain minerals from reciprocal tariffs because the U.S. lacks the capacity to produce them domestically at scale. This adjustment follows a rise in average U.S. tariff rates to 27%, the highest in over a century, amid inflation and market volatility. President Donald Trump defended the policy in a Fox News interview on October 19th, praising Chinese President Xi Jinping as a smart leader open to a trade deal and confirming plans to meet him in or at the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in South Korea. So again, when we think about this, I just feel like a lot of the tariff discussions and this trade war has been really blown out of proportion. I really think that most of the markets have been extremely oversold because of it, which is also why we are starting to see the big bounce happen today across the board. We are still waiting for gold to get boring. I think that once this gets boring, Bitcoin is going to take off yet again. We will clear the recent highs. We will go to a new all-time high as well. A lot of people have been asking me over the last couple, days, especially like the last week or so, if Bitcoin is topped out. I don't believe so, right? Like even when we are looking at the structure right now, I understand that these sell-offs can be very frustrating, maybe even a little bit stressful, but looking at Bitcoin right now, we did hit a low, and this low was right around roughly the lows from back in June. So I'm not really concerned about this. This was 4 months ago. This move is not really anything to be concerned with, in my opinion, and I'm not really worried about it at all. The only thing that I'm worried about is just how boring this time has been since we did have that sell-off. And again, we want to see more price action. We want to see a little bit more out of Bitcoin, and I'm waiting to see that. However, during this time, we are also starting to see some nice gains across the board on a few altcoins. Obviously, yes, a lot of them are bouncing back just off of the lows, but there's also a lot of altcoins that have been performing very strong during this time as well. But the main thing that I'm really looking at this week, because again, it is Monday, so we have to wait and see what happens, during the week. The main thing that I'm watching here is for stocks to make a new all-time high, gold to have a, really a big pullback. I want to see a nice pullback on gold, and then us to just chop for, a couple weeks, because that's all we really need for Bitcoin to break back to a new all-time high, push even higher. And then of course, yes, we start to see Altseason really kind of become a reality. But until then, we just have to take it one step at a time. I know that it's boring, it sucks, but the good news is that we are starting to see the tariffs and this trade war cool off, which is exactly what we wanted to see. And this at a time where we are starting to see Bitcoin bounce to some key levels on the chart. We're reclaiming some key levels as well. We need to see a little bit more. We should have that confirmation over the next couple of days as well. And by, our weekly candle close on Sunday, I'm sure that we will have enough price data to go off of to really kind of give us a nice confirmation of either one, was at the bottom, are we about to go crazy, or, are we still looking for some lower price action? But beyond that, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on, because I'm more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.